Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everything going? Big hack for you, my friends. Honestly, I miss you very much. I'm actually in one of the classrooms where we used to receive classes, and as I told you yesterday on our video conference, unfortunately, I guess this measure is going to take longer than expected because I was just expecting probably to take about 2 weeks, but our Ministro de Salud said that probably might take up to 2 more months. So imagine. So for that reason, my friends, there is no option but just to be in contact by videos, by video conferences, by WhatsApp audios, by WhatsApp practices, by doing a lot of stuff, but nothing that has to do with physical contact. I really miss that for real. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, in today's class, because you have right here the presentation. I'm not sure if you can see it probably clear. Whenever we focus something on the camera on a smart TV, it might have probably some defects on the screen because of how bright it is, because of how much brightness we have, So for that reason, I am likewise posting this presentation on our WhatsApp group, so you can just perfectly have a better idea of how we can explain this topic. This topic is not difficult. Actually, let me tell you this. If you understand this topic just by taking a look on the book, then there is no necessity for you to watch probably this video. You don't have to watch this video. But still, if you would like to have probably a better understanding, let me explain to you. First of all, my friends, well, I'm not asking you to subscribe to my channel, okay? I'm not planning just to be famous or, whatever. So it's just, if you watch this video, that's it. You don't have to even like it. That's it. It's just enough. This is something like with educative purposes. I have nothing to do with, that I want to make more, I want to have like more subscribers, a lot of views. No, don't worry. It's just a simple video. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being in today's class. I really appreciate that. So let's get started into this topic of dynamic and state verbs. Okay, my friends, first of all, we have two types of verbs in English. As you can see, we got dynamic and state verbs. Now, dynamic verbs are those verbs that you can see likewise on the presentation. They represent an action. There is something that you're doing. For example, we say, David is playing basketball. Peirano is signing up for the NBA. Okay, we say, Mr. Fells is flirting Luciana. Just something like that, okay, whatever. Mr. is, traveling to Cuba, just in case. So all these represent actions. All these verbs represent actions. However, there are some verbs, in Spanish happens the same, you see, because we have some verbs that do not really represent actions. Example, if I say, I think you guys are one of the best groups that I've ever had in my life. And that is true. So in this case, if I say, I think, it represents no action. Another verb, if I say, let me guess, I love Bobby. Sophia loves Bella. We love both of them, Bella and Bobby. So in that case, if I mean that I love Bobby, well, even though it might represent an action, I am not doing anything. Okay, it means that I love them, but it doesn't mean that I am doing an action in order to love them. So that is pretty much the difference, as you can see right here, my friends. Dynamic verbs. You got the concept that you can take a look on it probably. I just told you. And let me give you probably 2 examples, very clear examples that you can see on the presentation. 2 verbs. This is something very, very simple. I included 2 verbs. The verb work, obviously represents an action, especially nowadays that you have to work from home, especially your parents doing teleworking. Now we got the verb buy. You go, you pay, you get it. That means an action. You are doing an action. So I have in a simple present statement, which is the first, item A for work and item A for buy. Both of them are in simple present. No problem. That is fine. And likewise, you can use it in present continuous or progressive, as the book says. I am working from home every day. My mom is actually buying pizza for the whole family. So in this case, we can use at least everything that has to do with dynamic verbs. You can use them, like for example, in a simple present and on a continuous way likewise. Now, we have the other one, which is state verbs. In this part of state verbs, they are the verbs that, as I told you, they represent no action. They are verbs that we normally use them to show feelings, to show states of mood. And as you can see, I got two examples. And we have a red X for the verbs that cannot be used in present continuous, even though there are some exceptions that I'll let you know at the end of this presentation. So we got this. I love going abroad in December. I guess we all do. But the thing is this. You cannot say I am loving. And you know what? I guess some of you probably are thinking about McDonald's. Like if you say McDonald's, and the classical logo, the classical phrase is I'm loving it, right? For McDonald's, I'm loving it. I'm sorry, but it's not correct. You can't say I'm loving it. There is no way that you can say that because this is a state verb. It's not a verb that represents an action. So people just say like for vacilar, just something like that. But there is no way that you can grammatically correct say I'm loving my mom. I'm loving my English teacher. I know you do, but just in case you can't say I'm loving. You can't say that. Likewise, we have the verb need. For example, I need money. I need 2 more bulldogs in my life. You can say that, no problem. But you cannot say I am needing. Even in Spanish, you say estoy necesitando. I mean, people say it, but doesn't sound like, very good. So the idea would be not to use these verbs in continuous or in progressive ways. Why? Because they are state verbs or the famous stative verbs. State verbs, you don't use them. You don't use them in present continuous. So pretty much that would be a little explanation. I have summarized a little list of verbs that you have likewise in your presentation, and they are classified depending on the action that they represent. Feelings, thoughts or opinions, senses, possession, and measures or something like that. Okay, now, exceptions, because we always have exception in English. The exception is this. Well, I got 3 exceptions, 3 verbs. The first verb is think. The second verb, have. And the third verb is taste. What are these exceptions? Can I say I am thinking about doing this, blah, 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 blah? Yes, you can say it. So, think does not represent an action. It's classified as a state verb. It's not like a dynamic verb. It's a state verb. So, what is then the exception? Number 1. If you are probably saying or using think, like to give an opinion, like if you say, I think you should do this. I am thinking that you should. No, you can't say it that way. But if you use it as to consider doing something, you can use it. Let me give you this. I am thinking about getting a new job. In this case, you are considering to do something. If it's like, for example, to give an opinion or to have an opinion, in this case, you cannot say something like Mary is thinking the coffee is great. So Mary thinks the coffee is great. She thinks this is good. I think that you should do this and this and this. But in this case, like if it's specifically like to have an opinion, it's not actually thinking. In this case, you have to only use the simple present, think. But if you have to consider something, then you can just perfectly say thinking. Okay? Now, the other verb would be have. Have means like, for example, like when you own something, when there is something that you have for you, but specifically if it's when it means possession, you cannot use having. But if you're giving an opinion, like for example, if it's a part of an expression, like for example, if you say, oh my goodness, I am really having a good day now. If it's an expression, yes, you can say it. But you cannot say like, for example, hey, listen, these days I am having 2 bulldogs in my house. No, these days I have, or I am enjoying having 2 bulldogs in my house. But I am having, like for example, something that has to do that you have. No, you can't use it like having. It has to be actually with simple present. I have, she has, they have, Mr. Fell has, Luciana. No, just kidding. So just in case. All right. So number 3, the verb taste. If it means to describe the flavor of something, you cannot use like with ing. For example, the soup is tasting good. And when it means the action of tasting something, when you mean that you are doing this action, yes, you can do it. For example, I am tasting every single meal in this kitchen. In this case, you can say it. But if you want to describe the flavor of something, I'm eating actually a bread. Hey, listen, this bread is really tasting good. No, you can't say that. This burger is really tasting good. All right, so something like that, you can't say it that way. So people, just in case, pretty much that would be the exceptions. That would be pretty much like the way that you can use state and dynamic verbs. After watching this video, if you finish watching this video, I am going to ask you to please, my friends, there are 2 pages that we have to do, and all of them are in the workbook. Let me see. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you have to do the part from the workbook. I'm going to ask you to please go to page number 8. From page number 8, you have to do exercise number 1, exercise number 2, and from page number 9 from the workbook, you have to do only exercise number 3 because we haven't seen the others, okay? Now, from page number 10, you do the whole page, okay? Once you finish, I am going to ask you to please take a picture, the clearest picture that you can take. Take a picture and please send it to me. You can send it to me to my personal chat, not to my WhatsApp. I mean, not to the WhatsApp group, okay? Just to my personal chat of WhatsApp. All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember, stay at home. Stay at home. Be safe, okay? We don't want more cases of COVID-19. Just make sure that you follow the measures that your parents are asking you to do, and likewise, the Ministro de Salud. Make sure that you guys behave, that you have a good time. And if there is a lot of food in your house, it would be a good idea for you guys to share with somebody who actually needs food likewise. I'm not asking you to go and have physical contact, but I guess there is no danger if you probably take some of your food and you just probably put it in front of the door of a person that you know needs this food. So this might be like a crisis, but people, worry not. God is in control of everything. Everything is going to be fine. And hopefully, in some more weeks, we will be able to see each other, hopefully at the new building. All right? So, my friends, big hug for you. I'll see you and thank you very much for your attention.